Any question or comment you didn't get to make in any of the sessions, let's do it now. Is that okay with you guys? I think it's a good way to start since it's our last time. Yeah.
So we talked a lot about what the beliefs of the Black Hebrew Israelites were and the issues with those beliefs. How would you share the gospel with someone who's a Black Hebrew Israelite or someone who's in one of those cults? Like, are there specific Bible verses that you would go to first, or is it just like the way you would share the gospel with anyone on the street is similar to how you share it?
Well, yeah, to an extent, it's same as far as how you would share the gospel with those groups. Yes, got to focus on who is God and what is the gospel. You really can't get away from those. You don't want to focus on other stuff too much, especially if you have limited time. Who is God? What is the gospel? Are there really two more important questions? I don't think so. But great places to go, especially the book of Galatians. Specifically Galatians chapter 3. If you learn and understand the arguments that Paul makes, especially in relationship to the Old Testament passages, you'll be in such a great place. I'll just give you one real quick. Paul uses an argument from chronology in Galatians to show that we were never saved by the law. He says that Abraham, and he's quoting Genesis 15:6, he says, Abraham's faith was counted to him as righteousness. And he specifically points out how it was prior to his circumcision. And shows how it's based upon his trust in God's promises, not upon his law keeping. And so he's saying God operates the same way. True, we're in a new and better covenant. That's the second best book to master is Hebrews. But Galatians is excellent. And that's a very valid argument against any of the law-keeping groups, like the Hebrew roots folks, the Judaizing folks of sort of the Messianic movement. I'm not saying they all are, but there are some within there that are. Those kinds of folks. And so Galatians is the best place. But I'm saying have familiarity with what's happening also in the Old Testament. And that will really help you out. Great question. A couple more before we...
Yeah. So is there any truth, I guess, to the Black Hebrew Israelites movement in regard to, like, when the destruction of, like, Israel as a nation after Jesus died and resurrected, and where they all went?
Is there any truth to the Hebrew Israelite movement's claim about when Israelites were dispersed? Sort of. Let me explain what I mean. 70 A.D., Josephus and other folks record that when 70 A.D. happened, when Jerusalem was destroyed and Israelites went all these different places, they did go into Africa. Evidence indicates it was primarily, perhaps even only, northernmost Africa, though. And the trouble with postulating anything much more is that Jews leave paper trails, and they leave buildings and books. That's what I mean by that. They build synagogues, and they have Torah with them, Tanakh with them. And so there's evidence of the communities. Really, for the most part, we don't have any evidence of that in West Africa, where's the main place these folks needed to be to make their arguments. We do have it in North Africa. We do have it in West Africa way later. An interesting thing to do is to go look up some of the oldest pictures of we have rabbis in some of these communities, such as a place called Timbuktu. Look up the last rabbi of Timbuktu on Google and tell me, does he look like someone the Black Hebrew Israelites would include in their camp? He pretty much doesn't. So even when they were in these places, a lot of times they were sequestered, siloed off from the larger community by and large. So for the most part, the answer is there's a partial truth there about the dispersion, but it doesn't get them what they want to get, which is mainly people who came over on the ships are Israelites. Great question. Maybe one or two more as we start. Yes?
What about their political views, especially with what's happening in Israel today?
Hebrew Israelites' political views. They're a mixed bag. They're more conservative in a lot of ways than you might think. For example, they're not big BLM fans because they view BLM as destructive to the black nuclear family and as emasculating to the black male. However, in relationship to that, they kind of use it as a stick to hit people with politically as far as what's happening in Israel now. What I mean is they'll say, oh, you support genocide, but they're not really for the Palestinian cause proper because they think they're supposed to be the people in that land, not the Palestinians either. They'll say the reason why you guys are fighting is because neither of you should be over there. We should, but give it time, we will. Last question. Okay, you two, last question.
Sorry, mine's just a resource. You did the teaching on Isaiah 53. Do you have that somewhere, like in video or book format or articles?
I did a live stream on it on my channel. I know that's not what you're asking, but there is that. Isaiah 53 on the YouTube channel, / Vocab Malone. I did a debate on it against the Hebrew Israelite on a channel called Gospel Truth. I can give you my PDF. I'd have to get your email somehow. I'm okay with giving you the PDF itself. But there's a lot of great Isaiah 53 resources, specifically by Chosen People Ministries, and yes, even Jews for Jesus. They have some great resources as well. And I would say those are even more in depth than what I did at some places. And so I'd be glad to help you, and those are good resources too. Last one was, yes, great question. Yeah.
Is Hebrew Israelite teaching in a lot of hip hop now, and who would be parts that?
Is Hebrew Israelite teaching in hip hop? It's infiltrating slowly but surely. The biggest example is Kanye, but it's more like what he says off record than on record, because he's saying some Hebrew Israelite stuff like, how can I be an anti-Semite? I'm a Jew. That kind of stuff, right? That's what he says. It's a little bit more. There's places where it appeared in the past. The B.I.B.L.E. song off of Genius, Liquid Swords, that has Hebrew Israelism. KRS had some stuff, and like, why is that? Now, this is going back. But even more interesting, Kendrick Lamar's album, D.A.M.N., especially, was filled with this. I did a whole article on it at one of the articles that was on the table, but now this is the last copy of the book. I can't believe I sold everything. I didn't think you guys wanted to buy this stuff. Thought you just wanted to buy Frank's, but hey, there you go. So the truth is they have their own music. They call it truth music. Truth music. And truth music is mainly Hebrew Israelite rappers. And some of them are pretty decent. And they're very dedicated. And they make pretty good videos too. So they kind of are doing their own thing. Great questions. Let's move on. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Eshon Burgundy a part of that?
Oh, yeah. So Eshon Burgundy is a Christian rapper who has kind of abandoned Christianity, unfortunately. And he's basically a Darbyite now. And he basically is promoting Hebrew Israelism. He blocked me because I criticized him a few times. So, like, it's pretty bad. But just pray for the brother because he's really talented. We hope for the best.